I was gonna say earlier oh, there's corpses here. The problem with political stuff, especially when you on like a text-based media, the problem isn't like uncomfortable truths. For me, the reason I don't like talking about politics on stream isn't that I'm worried about uncomfortable truths. It's just that it can be very alienating and oh,
These here city folks, they're gonna have trinkets and all.
it can be very alienating, and it can be hard for people to stay kind of
Food, not trinkets. Can't eat trinkets.
Well,
it can be hard for people to stay
You ain't ever gonna be pretty.
That ain't
what's
how
the word I'm
you
looking for
was
here?
acting last night.
You shut up about
To stay calm during political discussions. So I have no interest in people with polar opposite views to me. Cordial, sure. Yeah, that's a good word. Oh, what the hell? That guy survived a couple of bow shots. Did I get one? Did I get one or did I get two there? What do you guys think? I think I got one. I got one. Oh. Oh. That's right, Democrats and the other party which has no real political ideology anymore. You mean they haven't left? They haven't left where? What are we talking about?
They're close. Got friends, do you?
You wish you didn't run into the Murphys.
Oh, they don't have a leftist party. I mean, the Democrats are left for most things where it matter, but they're not left compared to like Scandinavian left, sure.
Shit!
They're all just bowing down to Trump's whims and hating minorities. Democrats are left on paper in speech, but not in terms of actions. No, they definitely are in terms of actions. Like, if you look at all the stuff that here, if we do this, I mean, we can do a live search. Biden LGBT. President Biden's pro LGBT line, LGBTQ line, like. HHS finalizes rule reversing Trump-era license to discriminate regulations. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden, alongside entertainment superstar Shonda Rhimes, Lana Waithe, and Matt. I don't know who any of these people are. Join together in fight for LGBT equality at HRC's 2023 National Dinner. Human Rights Campaign hails a proposed federal rule that would help protect LGBTQ children in foster care. Shona Rhimes is clearly the show. To finish what I was saying earlier, like not talking about politics on stream for me isn't so much like avoiding uncomfortable truths. It's just that a lot of people don't want to talk about politics, first of all, and politics can be very divisive, even for people that agree on 99% of things, right? Like people can be aligned on, like, we can be completely aligned on most things politically, but then kind of just because of the conversation, or maybe we have like slightly different opinions on something, it can become very divisive very quickly, despite the fact that we would agree majorly on political positions, right? Oh, Ram said, what the hell? Wait, ram's head? What am I looking at? Oh, it's a mushroom. I thought it was about a secret. Hello, hello, Velvet. How are you doing? Thank you for the birthday. I will send that to Logan. Her name is Shoshonda Ryman Fingers. I don't mind the visit's reality, though. If the streamer doesn't want it, I acknowledge it. I don't get into personal attacks, though. I try to keep it about the actual politics. That's political commentators on Twitch. It's not the medium for this discourse. Well, I mean, the problem is that what turns it divisive isn't necessarily reality. It's that people can get really emotionally invested in their political positions. And for a lot of people, you know, they will come to Twitch perhaps because they don't want to deal with politics. Maybe they deal with politics all day. Maybe they have, you know, opposing political views in their family. Maybe they have friends that have, like, you know, been that they've lost to politics. So they come to so they come to Twitch and they're like, all right, time to relax, and then, you know, they're in a random RDR2 stream, and then people start arguing about Palestine. It's emotional by the definition of many ways. It's based on our initial smart compass, so I understand what you're saying or wrong. Yeah, but I mean more like how able someone is to kind of try to take a distance from politics can vary a lot depending on who the person is, right? And how personally affected they are by someone. That's why I dress as vegan, fair trade, non-political butter. I was like saying political commentators, I just don't talk politics there. The big problem is that depending on how emotionally invested you are in something, the harder it will be to try to kind of have a calm conversation about it, right? Like if you're a person who has let's say you have like family members or you have friends that live in Palestine, it's going to be significantly more difficult for you to try to kind of like have a calm conversation about that. If anyone has any dissenting opinions with you, right? And that's just a reality. If you have friends that were like, you know, that have like lost their jobs due to some political situation, then it's going to be way harder to have a calm conversation about that. And it's hard to anticipate or deal with that in a Twitch chat, right? Like I can't know everyone's political situations, so I can say something that I mean that I don't intend to sound inflammatory or to sound mean or to sound bad. That can end up feeling really bad.
Howdy, Bart. Damn lunatic!
Well,
all good. Calm down.
but being a vegan for 5 minutes, I needed to say it. I think it's okay to talk politics, something that's acceptable. The parties involved in all chat, and you can stop being tweeted. Yeah, for sure. Attack one person, then someone saying they are vegan. Must enter defense mode. Oh yeah, you don't like eating animals? I love animals. I'm gonna eat 60 animals because you said that. Just because you said that, I'm gonna eat more animals now. And I would do it again too. That's the crazy part. In the ghetto. No, you don't eat. I'm gonna eat 3 different types. Vegan, you must be gay, because guys eat meat. Not insecure, by the way. Why are you mocking me, Anda? Because you deserve it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm mocking you.
Yeah.
Wait, check sexuality card. You must be gay. Wait a second. Yeah, we don't have any rule against politics here because I think that is valuable to talk about. I think it's important for people to be able to vent their political frustrations. I mean, there's some things just won't fly in the chat, of course. Like, regardless of my political views, there are things you're just not allowed to do in Twitch chat. I'm not interested in stuff that like alienates people from participating, right? And I think it's important to like to try to not align with, but to try to have people with different views on things. I can just use different cards. Well, how sexuality works is that you buy a card pack from a store and then you open it up, and if you get and the first they're not called glistening, what are they called again? Shiny. The first shiny you get, that's your sexuality. You would be right for the first time in your life, bigot. What was that question that dude asked that Inuit video again? The like equal rights or LGBT rights or whatever? I think I went both. I think you do very well to be welcome, Tyrell. Thank you, Velvet. I do try. Yeah, it was something like that. It was a very funny video. I know my sexuality cards to people like business cards. I got a 2-for-1 deal, that's why I'm bisexual. Damn. What the hell? Where did you shop at? Blue-eyed Pandragon. You're ruining my video, yeah. Bro, you're ruining my studies, man. I'm gonna fail college because of you. The core LGBT without it need to be specified. You'll get there. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm pretty firm in the camp where I don't think that like human rights should be like a political issue. I don't think someone's right to live should be politics. I think politics should be like, you know, financial stuff and you know, like pollution, stuff like that. I don't think it should be, does this person have a right to like exist in society? And I mean, it's definitely possible to be a left-wing bigot. I don't think that's like I don't think that's difficult to imagine. But you do kind of blur the line a little bit, I guess. Most like economic stability or LGBT rights, yeah, I guess. The right to hate minorities of all kinds. That is a true the true anarchist view. I don't hate minorities. I hate all people. Or nihilist? Is that nihilism? Well, it's leftist views on human rights. Does this person have a right to be happy? This is what it boils down to.
Hey, partner.
Hey, it just suddenly stopped raining. Nice. Oh, it started again. Never mind. But yeah, that looked pretty good. Now let's misbelieving there's no purpose, bigger meaning. No happiness for anyone. In the ghetto. My political position is pretty simple. I only care about like a good living standard for all people. That's all I care about. I just want the most people possible to be able to live good lives. Vanilla flour? I don't care about cheese for everyone. People need to have cheese. People need to eat cake? Is that what you're saying? I'm vegans right now. I just want everyone to be as miserable as me. Well, sorry, Jace, I can't let you do that. Okay, so we're here because we're looking for Lady of the Night orchids. They're supposed to be in this area, but I guess I'll just run around and look for them. Lab-grown cheese meat, can it be vegan? Yeah. Like of you, Vax and Vane. When I was a teenager, I was so passionate about politics that in my 20s I stopped caring. Now the Brexit I've gotten really hot onto it again. I was like never really into politics for a really long time. And then I was on the wrong political spectrum for a little while. Not like really bad, but like kinda. And then now I'm kind of like on an anti-politics arc again. Not because I wait, am I in the wrong place? I'm in the wrong place. What the... I also believe so you have to find meaning and purpose for yourself, and that is really hard.
You need to get the hell out of here.
Make me.
Girl.
Now I'm kind of like on an anti-politics arc, but just because I feel like politics have become so divisive and so samey that it's like there's no nuance left in it. So it's just I just don't care to like get involved in it anymore, I guess. I have Christian values technically, so but a nihilist. I found meaning in Bad Gang. I'm not talking about when he used to play tabletop with his Nazi friend. I like talking about politics, and I think there's a lot of discussions that can be interesting, but I also think that politics are kind of like just in a really shitty state right now.
Evening, fella.
Particularly with all the like misinformation that's being spread. With how prevalent misinformation is just in general. Like, it's so easy to just be to misinform people, and it's really hard for people to have any like nuanced takes on politics. Like politics are ultimately really complicated, and it's very easy to just kind of boil them down into super generics. Speaking of purpose, I think I'll reserve a movie theater for a few hours to play the beginning of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Nice! Hey, you talked about that earlier. That sounds really cool. I hope you have a great time with that. Not knowing the background history that involved the parties, you can't understand the present. It's also just knowing the history, though. You need to know. You need to understand, like, sorry, I'm just looking for alligator nests. If people really want to understand politics, they also need to understand, like, you need to have a very nuanced understanding of why people make choices that they do, and kind of like how political systems work, right? But here's the thing, I don't know if you can really teach people nuance when they're like adults. I think that's very difficult. Historical actions are part of understanding why people do stuff. Yes, I have to give people history lessons. I mean, the problem is that even with history, people will just frame that in whatever way matches their... Even with history, people will just frame that in whatever way matches their political alignment. Like, two people of different political views can look at the same political situation or historical situation and come to two different conclusions. And people will then try to counter history with even more historical history. You can't teach people emotionally to be sensible. Look at January 6th. They framed an insurrection as saving the government if you're on the power. Yeah, or they'll disagree about who did what, right? I think the only realistic version for a lot of people to change their political views is to have like personal experiences, right? Like if you look at Christopher Judge, right, Kratos man. I don't remember where he talked about this, but I remember him mentioning. I believe he has a trans daughter or son. I don't remember. Christopher Judge trans daughter? It's one of them. I know he talked about in one of the God of War documentaries maybe, or somewhere he talked about how one of his children kind of came out as trans, and he was like, he wasn't very understanding of that initially, like he didn't really get it, and he didn't do a good job as a father, he felt like. And then he played Kratos, and that kind of like taught him to be more connected to his emotional side. That kind of changed his point of view, and he feels like that kind of made him a better person. And I think it's hard for people to kind of like have those experiences, and I think that's kind of what you need ultimately to change your point of view. The point isn't good and everything. The point is to understand how action B was caused by action A. But I think you need to have a baseline on things like both agreeing that people have a right to life. Not need personal experience really, it depends on so many things, what kind of family you grew up in, the environment, your friends, your knowledge. Consider innate to living beings, the opposite is something learned. For people the saying conservatism was for old people, and young generation will have none of that, and now nationalist parties are rising in popularity. As young people are crap regardless of age. And Britney Spears did a different thing. I don't think you need personal experience, but I think in order to have any chance at wait, why did my health core run out completely? What the hell? What the hell? Why did that happen? I think that if a person is, for instance, if a person is it's like a homophobe, right? I don't necessarily think that being a homophobe is I don't think a lot of people are homophobes maliciously. Like I don't think they chose to be a homophobe because they wanted to hate someone. I think they ended up in that situation due to like how they grew up and their their life experiences, right? And I think the only realistic way for them to not become homophobe isn't for people to say, oh, they're just people, or homosexuals deserve to live. They're just a person. They just have different views than you. Blah blah blah. I don't think that's going to help that person not become a homophobe. I think the most realistic thing that could happen is that maybe someone in there that they care about turns out to be homosexual, and then they kind of like use that to reframe their views, right? And I think it's almost impossible for a lot of people without stuff like that happening to them. Like I don't think most people are capable of just stopping themselves from being a homophobe. Like it would be great if people could just stop, but I think that's really difficult to just very drastically change your political, not even political views, but like change your views. My relative was a racist until her next door neighbor was Indian and she loved her. Yeah, exactly right. Like I feel like a lot of the times that's the type of stuff that kind of just has to happen in order for people to change their views. They kind of like they need to like have a natural way to reframe what is what they believe. Fascism sentiment will always be on the rise in times of despair, hardship. That's when society is the most susceptible to it. I'm not saying it's okay, but that's at least when the nature exists. I think it's in general pretty lost, and a lot of influencers can push agendas that really damage them. Not just politically, yeah, for sure. Not all nationalism is bad, though. It's okay to have some in the sense of being proud of your people, for example. Nationalism is, well, isn't the problem that nationalism is defined as like isn't nationalism defined in a bad way? Yeah, because nationalism, like I think it's good and healthy to be proud of who you are as a people, but the way nationalism is defined is identification with one's own nation and support for its interests, especially to the exclusion or detriment of the interests of other nations. And that's the part where it becomes bad, right? Just proves people are short-sighted and dumb. I think why a lot of far-right figures like Peterson and crap are probably because to me it feels like we're between like a world generation. Socially, I guess, would be a better word for it. Of course, it's still bad. I think that's too simplistic conclusion in some ways, though. Rocky to be born into open liberal societies. If we grew up in a very bigoted, racist, religious environment, it would be much less likely that we would have these views we have today. Yeah, for sure. Israel Cookland last 20 years. I grew up with a progressive family in the progressive neighborhood, but after reading up on LGBT history and news and forming my own opinion in good faith, I decided to become a homophobe. And the figures like Peterson tell these kids who are lost that they're not wrong for feeling lost and that it's society that's wrong for making them feel that way. Remember that things are better than they were before. I think there are varying degrees of nationalism. There are liberatory nationalisms. Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the concept of nationalism in itself is bad, but the way it's used most of the time is bad. The big problem with nationalism, the concept of making choices to better yourself over other nations, for instance, is that if let's say you're Norway. Norway benefits from its neighbors being in good states, right? Like America's a better example. The United States would be in a better state if Mexico was in a better state. Like the United States benefits from Canada being good, because if Canada is in a bad state, then that would be a detriment to the United States. So nationalism, when it stops you from assisting your neighbors, is just bad, because assisting your neighbors is a direct benefit to you, right? The world is too woke, and that's not your fault. Woke has been spawned for political purposes too much that the world is also its enemy. Yeah, I agree with that too. Nationalism is great. Christ in Brexit. Yeah, Brexit is a good example, right? Like, Brexit was just a detriment to the people of the United Kingdom. It was just overall bad. It just took opportunities away from you. It made things harder for you. It made things more difficult for most people. You didn't benefit from that. That's an example of nationalism kind of not working like it should, right? it's okay to say, hey, like the best nationalism to me would be me saying, hey, Norway good. We're a strong, independent people that thrive. So we should be more than able to help our neighbors, right? I think that's like a strong nationalism. A bad nationalism is Norway good because we don't help anyone, and we're too strong to care about our neighbors. Big definition is my problem. Yeah, it does. Brexit happened, was so dumb. Sorry, but that must have been a wake-up call to millions of UK. Wait, the vote actually mattered? Yeah, for sure. I think ethnocentrism, maybe. So in the context of right-wing nationalism, that's specifically what type of nationalism it is. Collectively, the left understands what kind of nationalism this is most often refers to. This was good. A lot of Republican talking points would disappear. Well, of course. Mexican food. South America was good. There wouldn't be so many immigrants crossing the border. Yeah, I mean, if South America was in a overall great state, then there might be people crossing borders, but it would be because we probably had open borders and people would be just be sharing workforces, right? Like, I'm very grateful for being born in Finland, and I'm proud of being a Finn, but I would never call myself a nationalist. Regime change in countries like Venezuela by the CIA government is what caused the political unrest in 90% of the countries. America definitely hasn't helped countries like Mexico. I mean, Mexico has a huge gun problem because the guns are smuggled from America to Mexico. That's probably all of South America, honestly, with the gun problem. And that's my number one political commentator. Hey, listen, there's a hot take here that that is relevant to what Jace was talking about with like a lot of these right-wing political commentators, which I honestly think is which I think like. This is a right-wing talking point. But I think there's a lot of merits to it from like a I don't know what you would call like a political science perspective or like a political ideology perspective. I don't even know what you would say, but there is something to be said for a lot of men or boys feeling like they're kind of like alienated by the left right now, right? Like the left side of the political sphere right now is all about equality, and ultimately what equality means in a lot of cases is that men who have been very much in positions of power and privilege for a really long time are now finding that the political ideology is changing to one where it's everyone should be in power, everyone should be everyone should be in good political positions in society. So and that's kind of what these people are preying on, right? And like they're not necessarily wrong in what they're saying, which is why it's so easy for people to fall down that line, right? Preying on or preying on the second one. Like a person like a person like Andrew Tate is preying on the fact that a lot of young men right now feel alienated by the fact that, you know, we're talking about equalizing workforces, and we're talking about making sure that everyone has a right to not be discriminated against. And ultimately, what that sounds like to a lot of people, and what that feels like is, well, you know, before I had all these rights, I was the person of privilege, but now we're stripping that. Now it feels like we're stripping privilege away because we're giving privilege to other people, right? I think we should teach straight boys to be proud of helping women and minorities. I am. Andrew Tate may have changed after I watched his interview with Pierce and how pro-Palestine is. He showed a part of him that cares about justice. Maybe he's starting to change. I would be shocked. That would be the biggest surprise in... People can have a good thing sometimes, yeah. Biggest shame, I love men being in power, bring back women not working. Oh my god, Will, what the hell? Oh my god. You like this dog. And I believe studies show that women are becoming more and more liberal, while men are becoming more and more conservative, right? It's liberal and conservative, right? Those are the right terms. Sorry guys, I don't do political terms. I don't know what they mean. But I believe that's accurate. I think there's some stuff I didn't read up here too. The US cops smuggled the guns in there. The CIA smuggled a bunch of into Mexico and lost them. I said it because it's progressive and has surprisingly good support for disabled people. Yeah, that's good. People can't change moments of revelation. Look at Malcolm X. I don't know anything about Malcolm X. Dude, why are these so hard to see? Jesus. And how many of these do I need? 15? Is it 5? Trad wife chat. You should all be women. Take all these Tate kiddos and turn them into femboys. Fanboy, swimming in the ocean, causing a commotion because they are so awesome. How do I do this? I guess I do this. God damn it. Sorry, just give me a second there. I'm gonna start my HRT. The US should smuggle Santa Maria out of Mexico. Tex-Mex brand, yeah. There's a conflicting country and there's some kind of political price for the US. I mean the big problem on a worldwide political scale is that someone has to benefit from a conflict, right? Like we have lots of opposing forces in the world. The biggest ones right now, I guess, being the United States, Russia, and China, right? They're probably the people fighting the most. So if the US doesn't benefit from something, then Russia certainly will, or China certainly will, right? I don't like that this mission we're doing right now, that it says like... It doesn't say how many of these I have, so I guess I have to go... And do I need 15 out of 15 Lady of the Night Orchids? That seems like a lot. Like, how many do I have right now? 4. Avoid China's Belt Road initiative from being completed across Syria. Like China's waiting for a weakened Russia to swoop in for their resources. Yeah. Well, I mean, China doesn't need to. What China's doing, which is arguably the smartest thing any nation can be doing, is just building places up a lot, right? Isn't that what they're doing in Africa and stuff? They're just like funding a bunch of operations in Africa so that African countries will be like indebted to them, and then they're benefiting from like super omega cheap labor, or like slave labor or whatever.
I may not speak the whole truth, but I speak some of it. Do you want Want to hear your fortune, sir?
Sure. I haven't met this woman before.
Why not?
Make around loser, so there's no point to waging wars anymore. I'll read the rest in a second. Well, they're just gonna hear my fortune.
This is now the time of machines, the time of things, the time man came and went as all things pass. As all things pass, my friend.
Okay, thanks.
Travel safe.
Thank you, my lady. Sorry. I had a conversation where someone told me men should be empowered because they're more physically intimidating. So I've not been physically intimidated for a good 16 inches of my growth spurt. Also, this is just a one-off bizarre coming. Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. They're debt trapping African countries. China is vilified, but most of, if not all of it, is incorrect. Listen, I'm not an expert on. I'm not an expert on all world politics, but I think there's a lot of reasons to vilify China. A lot of countries who sign up for a Belt Road end up bankrupting and defaulting on their debts. They use Chinese workers for construction materials, then they claim back everything they built and more.
Come to me.
When both parties resolve contractual obligations, I mean,
Properly.
that would depend. Like that depends on. That depends on how much we believe both parties were consensual and aware of what they were signing, right? Like there's a reason that I can't get like a 3-year-old to sign like a contract, right? And you can extrapolate that onto things like a country as well to some extent, right? Like if the United States went to like Palestine and they made them sign some sort of contract, I don't think people would be like, well, and then Palestine failed to meet the requirements, and the United States like invades them. I don't think people are like, well, I mean they failed their contract. I don't tell you guys. You'd probably be like, well, that contract was bad and Palestine shouldn't have signed it, and they were coerced to signing it, right? Would be my guess. That's my guess how people would react to that. I could be wrong though. Most a lot of poorer countries promising an inflation to help them, but the countries are never paid back their debt. I do know that much of the bad thing we say about China is Western propaganda. They do have their own problems, not denying that. They sign these contracts with corrupt politicians who are out of office by the time China comes collect. They aren't debt trapping them, otherwise they would not be forgiving those loans all the time. I don't think China. I don't like China, but it's hilarious how much people accept the truth of American media. People are still making these empty city videos despite us finding years ago that China just pre-built cities for areas preparation for economic growth, and those empty places have had people living in them for decades. I like China, but I have seen zero proof. They built a port when Sri Lanka couldn't pay back. It's that they took the port with a ton of land. Listen, I know literally nothing about what we're talking about now. I'm just gonna preface that. But I don't think... This is pretty cool. Have I been here? This was a little bit familiar, but I don't think I have. I know very little about the situation. I know very little about China, but I think that I don't think there's any reason to suspect that China is like a good actor in anything that they do. Just like I wouldn't suspect that Russia or America is a good actor in anything that they do. And I don't think there's like I don't think there's probably going to be misinformation on all sides of this, but I don't think that we have to distrust like all media. I don't think all news about China is like just like American propaganda, right? But I think we need to look at who's accusing China of these things. I think people who lie to us again and again and again. If this in Iraq ring a bell. People are people who believe. I mean, I think that people should be critical of media, of course, but I also think that people need to be not critical of some media, right? Like, I don't think every news outlet that writes about China has an ulterior motive to be China bad, right? We have to be able to trust that if 1,000 media outlets in the West write a news article and they all agree on some conclusion that they found through, you know, journalism, that's probably just going to be a truth. I don't think all media outlets are. I don't think a majority of media outlets are driven to spread misinformation by like the U.S. government or whatever. I think that would be really difficult to believe, at least for me. Price go. Who is Wumo? China's internet role. There are so many xenophobes who just take crap at face value. What is a xenophobe? Not to get true story in the news from China or the US. They both spin their stories in their favor. Yeah, but journalists don't have to be aligned with the country that they live in. Like if a journalist traveled to some place and they report on what they found in that place, I wouldn't dispute that based on the country that they live in necessarily. Like if they have evidence and there's no evidence of the contrary, then anti-Chinese is xenophobe. Okay, why is it called a xenophobe? Chinophobe plus Chinaphobe. Giga anti-China like 5 years ago. My ancient character was named after Taiwan. All Western governments that are members of NATO are playing both the US to a extent, which will apply to their media outlets too. I don't think most media outlets are playing ball with the government. I don't think that's the case. I think media outlets can be playing to like people. Like if most people in a country are pro or anti something, they will play to those people and write news those people wanna hear possibly. But I don't think they're playing to like a government. In a way, things like Reddit, Twitch, Imgur has good for journalism as people can believe live stream things. You don't believe it, they can say some things, but there's a line they won't cross. Enda. Listen, if you can provide evidence that most Norwegian media outlets are working in tandem with the government. They're literally like hired by the government to write government propaganda. Sure, I'll believe you. Sure, but is there any evidence of that at all? Has the Norwegian government gone to a Norwegian media outlet and said, "This is what you're going to write about"? Has that happened? I'm just gonna watch Hee-Ha Cowboy stuff. Don't worry, you're pretty head about it. I mean, this is conspiracy theory stuff you guys are saying, though, right? This is straight up conspiracy theory stuff, right? Unless you have evidence of it. Because we're essentially doesn't mean it's false. No, but it means that there's a lack of evidence, right? Nobody suggesting that. Well, what do we say? Can you describe your position better then? Also, like saying that a conspiracy means that it's false is a little bit disingenuous, right? You guys are Stephen Keanu? No, I don't think that is. I think that's extreme on the other side. I think that it's healthy to be skeptical of the media. I think that's very, very healthy. But I think that skepticism, if taken too far, can be dangerous too, right? But I don't think this is remotely close to QAnon. I don't think this is close. But that's only because this is coming from a different side of the perspective, right? It's on globally shadowed moment controlling people. Yeah, but the difference there would be what like would be like the goal and the political affiliation, right? Like the goal here of saying that media outlets can't be trusted is just to support the sentiment that you shouldn't like read China bad in a newspaper and then be like, oh, I guess China bad then, right? But I think this is coming from a better place, but I still don't think it's very. I still don't believe that it's I think that is taking skepticism in media too far, right? The dogs are downstairs as well. I'm gonna go make some breakfast here in a second, though. Don't trust me, mainstream media. Believe my bullshit instead. Did I already pick this flower up? I mean, think about it. I'm QAnon, I guess. Listen, this is exactly what I said when I said that politics can be divisive, right? And this is what I meant. This is what I meant when I said that this is why a lot of people don't want to talk about it on Twitch and why this is a good platform for it. Because more than likely, there's not a huge disagreement here, but because we're using a chat room and because people have different ways to engage with politics and different ways to talk to people, it gets divisive, right? And the further down the line we go, the more difficult it becomes to just kind of have a regular civil conversation. Oh my heart. Peppo are saying that we da. The media aggregators like Rutgers are affected by their funders, not like an evil dark money way. That's just American media, but via singular actors who happen to disagree. So you see news articles that are written in a seemingly mainstream voice, but actually remove the agency of the parties. Yes, that's no disagreement here. But I like that's a more nuanced take than what was said before, though, right? There are certainly media outlets that are driven by the people that own them. There's no doubt about that. And there are without a doubt narratives that media outlets will push. Like Fox News is going to push a right wing. Are going to push a right wing news, right? There's going to be very little news on Fox News that are going to be pro LGBT, for instance. And there's no doubt about that. But simultaneously, there's going to be a lot of media outlets that are not like that will push a more nuanced view. And if Fox News is pushing the same news that like another media outlet is, then we have to be able to say like, okay, that's probably just something that's true at that point, right? So like American media is owned by the government because most of the lobbying groups purchase their influence. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that the American government owns any media outlet. I don't think that's been proven, at least. I think there are American political funders that own media outlets for sure, but those people are not part of the government. Like the American government isn't telling them what to put on the news. They just share a political affiliation. So like protesters shot by police becomes a shooting happened, and because the routers wrote to that, it gets copied over and over again. I find media groups that are on pretty much all of the media companies in the US, yeah. The politicals and West equals bad chat mode. Is it does it make the chat bad? I'm sure there's a lot of people that just tune out. They're like, I don't want to talk about politics. I think we're mellowing down though. I think we're pretty much towards the end of it. I think we've had a pretty healthy conversation. For the most part. And also, I'm doing something that's like so boring anyway, so... Media outlets are influenced and reality controlled. If you answer their agenda, they will quickly be discredited. Media on anyone else's show recently. I have no idea what that is. Welcome to Palestine, I learned my lesson. Wait, from this chat or? I don't think anyone here is anti-Palestine. Discord. I don't know if people are anti-Palestine. I mean, listen. This is gonna get really controversial, so people need to become kitty cats, okay? Most people aren't anti-Palestine. They're anti-Hamas, right? Most people are anti-Hamas, which is kind of where it was a yoke. I think people are anti-Hamas. Yes, right. I think that it would be absurd for a person to actually be anti-Palestine. I think that would border on insanity. I think any concept of like of being anti a group of people that ultimately have very little agency in their position is absurd. But simultaneously, I think it's okay to be anti the actions of some of those people, right? Hamas right for liberation of Palestinians. Nobody mentions that. They have a non-military wing that provides welfare service to people. Let's listen. Again, this is going to be very controversial, but I don't think that's relevant when we have news of Hamas decapitating babies. Like it doesn't matter how good what good an organization does if they're decapitating babies, unfortunately. And I'm never going to be convinced that isn't the case. Hamas can provide as much welfare as they want, but if they're decapitating babies, then like there's just nothing they can do to remedy that in my eyes. It is from a if you have a even if social media said there's no truth, okay, I can we can do a fact check on the on stream right now if you want, but did Hamas kill children, kill babies? Officials say they'll expose lies about murder of babies by Hamas. Like, what do we think is a trusted like a news source? Because like everything I find here is just the same thing. It's factcheck.org. There are reports of IDF killing their own on the 7th of November. Killing their own watch. The murder twins story broke my heart. You know, so yeah, sure, but we're not talking about that now. We're talking about Hamas killing children, right? Like you said, there was no truth to it. So like, what website do we go to decide on what the truth is here? Right, I'm off. Sorry, Velvet. I mean, we can stop talking about politics if you want. I apologize.